Whoa, it's Wulzy, nominee for the Best Effect Creator of 2020. Welcome back to another building video on the High Spirits series. Thank you. I know, I've only released 2 levels this year, but apparently that was enough to land me a spot on the Geometry Dash 2020 awards. I don't quite know how that's happened, to be honest, but we're back with High Spirits. I don't know how this is going to go, but in this video I want to at least make a start on the drop of this level, redesign some of the gameplay to make it less repetitive and less dumb, because it's kind of buggy at the moment. I don't know how I'm going to get the whole thing done. I might split the drop in half and do an episode each. Next Sunday at 7 PM British time, I will be verifying this level, which leaves Monday and Friday this week to basically finish off the level. So I'm thinking of splitting the drop in half, doing half of it in this episode, half of it of next episode, and then maybe on the verification stream I can fix some stuff up like the dash orb transition. I want to put a logo in here, fix up the ship transition, and just make the level more solid. But first things first, let's take out the trash. It needs more blocks like this. That's what it was missing. Adding a few saws in there, a couple of double clicks on the portals. We got some slopes here to end off the UFO section as well. I'm also going to change this jump to a yellow orb inside of the portal instead of a platform like that. Okay, so wave into the UFO like this. Sheesh, okay. I also want to change a few timings in the second iteration of this repetitive cube section. So on the second time, there's a yellow orb and a black orb, just like that, with the timing on the edge of the platform. I want to keep the wave part the same, and then I want to change that jump right there. I read a lot of comments about the repetition and how easy the drop is, so I've added a couple of things like double clicks in the UFO, just to change up the flow, make it a little bit different. As you can see, there's some slopes, and then there's a couple of curveballs in this cube section as well, some extra timings, and then this thing, boom, and then that leads you straight onto the end. Awesome. Alright, I want to try some different gravy with the structuring in this part. I'm taking a couple of objects on the bottom of the level, copy pasting them, moving them a block down, and half spacing them to the left, and repeating that until I get a nice pyramid shape. Then, starting from the bottom, I copy paste, move to the right, select the next layer, and just keep on doing that over and over again until it actually forms a pyramid shape, like that. I think these are looking pretty good. They look nice with the block transitions on the sides, and I think that the snowstorm foreground that I'm going to add as an effect is going to look pretty good on them too. As for the rest of the blocks, I'm probably going to structure them as normal. Alright, so now that I've got the base blocks in place, which are just black on black, I'm going to start making some pulses for this section. In the beginning, where the blending screen is still lowering in its opacity, there's not going to be any pulses for the background because I want it to feel like a release, but as soon as you get into the cube section, the background's going to start pulsing, so it gets more intense as you get to the end. So for these pulse triggers, we've got a 0.1, 0.2, 0.3 fashion that pulses them to bright blue, but every set of 4, I'm thinking of changing the blue to be a bit more light, to the point where it even turns a little bit green, and that's going to have a 1-second fade out at the very end. The black blocks are already being uplifted by a blending screen, which makes it so when they aren't pulsing, they aren't 100% black, which makes these pulses fit in a lot more nicely in my opinion. You can see them getting a bit more blue towards the end, starting to get green now, and then they are green at the very end, just to finish off that level on a weird note. The background is already white at this part. The only reason it's displaying as grey is because of the Group 8 black overlay that I've got on about 0.4 at the moment. This is going to get turned off on the 0.1 fade in. Then I need to find the end of this pulse trigger with a 0.3 fade back to 0.4. Like here, just need to align the duration line like that. Then I can just apply these at the exact same point as the pulse triggers for the sync. So for the last one, instead of fading on a 0.1 fade time to 0, I'm just going to change the fade time to 2. So I'm hoping the last pulse is going to be a bit more climactic than the rest, a bit different. Here we go, we're coming up to it now. I like this background flash actually. There we go, and then it just fades to white at the end. Awesome. Now it's time to make the snowstorm background and foreground. I want to have a couple of layers to this, some that go over the top of the blocks and some that go behind the blocks. Using a new color channel 14, which is grey blending, we'll place one scaled up piece of glow, copy paste it, move it 3 to the right, and just keep on doing that over and over again until we get a big long line like this. Then I'm going to copy paste, move it 2 up and 1 to the right. copy paste again, 2 up, 2 to the left, copy paste again, 2 up and 1 to the right. Oh, I've accidentally copied some glow from earlier on. Okay, so this is like a little diagonal pattern. These are going to be on B2. That makes it so they go over the top of the blocks. And now I'm going to copy these pulse triggers, move them down, give them the color channel 14, and they're going to be set to white. So at certain points you get this super bright look to the glow. So this is all going to be set to group 161, which I'm going to move to editor layer 4. At the same time, I'm going to add them to another new group 162. I'm going to move them into place like this, so I can just lock to the x-axis straight away on 161. I also need to set up alpha triggers so that they fade on with a 0.1 fade time right here, and then they can get turned off earlier before you can possibly see them. That's 171, just like so. So you can see it's slowly moving towards the player on the foreground, but behind this, there's going to be a couple more layers that go behind the blocks, and they're going to be moving faster to make a little effect there. Behind this top layer of glow and the blocks on B3, I'm going to be adding some different glow that's on editor layer 5 on a new group 163, and this is going to be half opacity black, so it needs to be group 15, I think. Group 163 can move minus 600 and minus 150. This should move at different rates and have a different layer of glow. That's not very apparent though when you're first looking at it. I kind of forgot that color channel 9 is pulsing away from black. I'm going to add a new color that's just black. I've decided that this level needs more power. Oh my god. The front layer is getting moved to minus 800 and minus 200. Then the layer behind it can go minus 400 and minus 1200. Because it's not really feeling stormy. There we go. The stuff's moving a lot more noticeably now. I think I need some alpha stuff going on. 162, you can fade off to 0 opacity first. Then at the end of your duration line, you can fade back up. There's 30 blocks between these, so I'm going to copy paste them 15 blocks along, and that's going to do the same for group 163, which is our black. So that's going to vary the aesthetic by making it bright at some times and dark at some times, just making the snowstorm feel a little bit different, and to give some more space for decoration, because I felt like the bright areas were way too bright when they were like on screen the whole time. I'm now making a test for how it looks without half opacity on the black glow. I don't like it. It's not good. And then to finish off this snowstorm background, there's going to be yet another layer behind the black, which is on group 164, and it's on blending, the same as the foreground, but half opacity on 15. It's not going to move any different on the Y, but on the X it's moving 2000 now. I can't see it. That's weird. Maybe I should change the color of this to copy the color that's in the blocks on B4. And this can have its own pulse, which is on group 164, on a 5-second loop. So it's fading off for 5 seconds, then fading back on for 5 seconds. It's not very noticeable, but hopefully when I add some detail, it'll be obscured in different ways and it'll make the background stand out more. There's a lot of glow here, but I think I can make it look quite tasteful with the details. So to test, I've added some pulsing circles inside the UFO part. I think they blend in pretty well, even though they're a different color, which is good because this effect is now allowing all of my colors to mesh together, as well as the blending screen going on top, obviously. I'm adding a new pulse right now for color channel 6, which is normally white. I'm going to pulse it down to black. When I'm playing in slow motion right now, you can see that I've added some saws on the B3 layer, which go behind the blocks. And when they're white, they don't just blend into the background because there's the glow behind that makes them pop out. I think this short black pulse looks really original and makes them stand out a little bit more, which is what I like. Playtesting this right now, I can't deny it looks very strange, but I think it looks kind of fire, and I think it works as the drop for this level. There's a couple of saws in between that I do need to tweak and fix because they don't work with the saws, but what works really well is this white background pulse with the black saw pulse at the same time. I think they complement each other very well, and I love the way it's looking. This is actually kind of fire. I was not expecting this. I still need to figure out designs and decoration for this part, so as predicted, I'm not going to be finishing this whole part in this video. I'm just going to be adding the most essential details for now, like the half opacity black circles around the portals, and the full opacity black circles that show you the way. I'm also going to figure out a way to connect these objects down here to the ground, so there's not just a floating object there. But then yeah, other than that, that's this video pretty much done. I don't think a single thing in this part is on don't fade and don't enter, so everything has the block transitions, including the background, which is unconventional, but it's working obviously. Unless you don't like the part, then it's not working. But yeah, I think these pulsing circles are pretty fire. They are pulsing very wide, which works for the kind of energy that I want to convey in this part. For these last 3 circles, I'm going to change the second one to half opacity and the one on the end to, I think, 20%? I don't 100% remember, but you can see that they kind of fade out there. To make the level feel a little bit more connected, I might just add these little shadow things. The top ones are on group 18, and the bottom ones are on group 15. They're just low opacity connecting blocks, really. It's time to test it out now. Hopefully it doesn't stick out too much. It is quite a low opacity. Yeah, it blends right in with the other details, which I like. My only slight worry is how many floating objects there are in this cube section. But as I said earlier, they are low opacity, so I don't really have much to worry about with these. I've got an issue with this spike block that it kind of overlaps with this object. There, ladies and gentlemen, we have the solution. Just make the top block one of the pyramid blocks. I think it's going to work. This should be the final test for this version of the level. As I said, in the next episode on Friday, I will be finishing off this part with extra details. It may be optimizing the rest, adding like a title screen somewhere. I don't know how it's going to work, but I probably will be finishing the level in the next episode. And boom, that is what I've made in this video. I'm really happy with it. I think a lot of people might disagree, but I think it looks pretty nice. Anyway, thank you for watching this Geometry Dash building video. Check the links in the description. You find my Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and Discord server. Leave a like and subscribe, and have a good day.